With coverage you can count on, this is LEX 18 News at 6.
Hundreds of people gather to remember 3 men killed more than a decade ago. That's tonight's LEX 18 Big Story at 6. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Allen. Thanks for joining us at 6. This weekend marks the 12th anniversary of a triple murder in Carter County. And although several years have now passed, friends and family of the victims want to keep their memory alive. So today, hundreds took that same ride to the spot where all 3 lost their lives. That's tonight's LEX 18 Big Story at 6.
It was devastating.
3 days later, with a self-inflicted. And even though the 3 young men's suspected killer was found shot to death right after their murders, family members tell us they still wonder if he was the one responsible, and why would someone have done something like this? For them, still many unanswered questions. State police say they've nabbed a man wanted in both Florida and Ohio, but his capture came after a chase along Interstate 75, where police say he pulled out a gun and shot himself. Taylor Vinson reports.
It was a scary scene here in Scott County Saturday morning as the chase came refused to pull over for speeding.
Police say they also found over 7 pounds of marijuana in Mitchell's truck. At last check, Mitchell was listed in critical condition at UK Hospital. A South Central Kentucky man faces a felony assault charge for allegedly hitting a 6-year-old so hard 2 of that child's teeth had to be removed. 25-year-old Elton Spurren is still behind bars in the Whitley County Detention Center, according to the News Journal. During a fight between Spurren and his brother-in-law, Spurren somehow hit the child. The hit knocked 2 teeth loose and they had to be removed. The little boy may also have to have a 3rd taken out. Spurren is charged with 1 count of second-degree assault. It doesn't matter which social media website you hit today, this story is front and center. Twitter especially blew up this morning with comments and pictures. First, let's check out this video. It was a video an LEX 18 viewer posted on YouTube today showing the scene, the crazy scene outside Tally Ho on UK's campus overnight as police were handling the scene and calling for backup. And I can tell you, I was in our newsroom when these first calls started to come out, and you could hear in the voices of these first responders just how frantic they were as they were rushing to head to the scene to respond to these fights. Now let's also take a look at some twit pics people are posting on Twitter today. The first shows the mess left behind at the lofts at Victorian Square after the disturbance there. Another 2 show the scene outside Tally Ho, and you can see just how massive this scene was and how many people got caught up in all this as this fighting broke out about 2:30 this morning. Now to our story we posted on lex18.com, and at this hour, get this, already 9,000 people nearly have viewed this story in just the last 5 hours, and several people have retweeted our web story. And this is what they're saying on Twitter right now. Rachel Elizabeth, a student at UK, says some of this fighting happened, quote, right outside my dorm. Mike Check 85 on Twitter says, quote, someone got scraped at Tally Ho too, blood and tables everywhere. State police have had 2 accidental shootings in the last 24 hours. Both have turned deadly. The first in Hopkins County. It happened in Morton's Cap just before midnight Saturday. Police say a 15-year-old was looking at a gun with his friends when someone in the group accidentally discharged it. The teenager was hit in the face. He died on the scene. His name has not been released. And to Webster County, where state police are looking into what appears to be a deadly accidental shooting there. Police say Sarah Nail was shot in the neck. She was found on the front porch of a home. Friends say Nail was looking at the firearm when a friend accidentally fired it, hitting Nail. No foul play is suspected. It's a not guilty plea for the Lexington man charged in a Frankfort shooting. 24-year-old Philip White is accused of shooting Turavon Daniels at Club High Definition back in May. White is charged with assault and being a persistent felony offender. It looks like the Anderson County mother found dead in her backyard pool, accidentally drowned. That's the word from the coroner. Linda Gill's 19-year-old daughter found her in the backyard of their home on Jenny Lillard Road near Lawrenceburg late last month. The 51-year-old had been dead for some time. The coroner's office says Gill may have had a medical condition that led to her death. State police say alcohol was involved in a wreck that injured a Mount Sterling woman's passenger. The crash on Interstate 64 yesterday happened around mile marker 147 in Rowan County. Police say Donna Muncie lost control in a curve, left the roadway, and her Jeep overturned. Muncie's passenger, Sharon Branham, was flown to St. Mary's Hospital in West Virginia to be treated for her injuries. Muncie faces charges of DUI, wanton endangerment, and criminal mischief. She's in the Rowan County Detention Center. A Kentucky woman wasn't hurt, but an Evansville, Indiana police cruiser was damaged in this wreck you see here. It happened in Evansville. The impact of that crash knocked Sue Berry's front bumper off. Police say Berry turned into the path of the cruiser. The patrol car had damage to the front left fender. Some Louisville restaurant goers say they were disgusted by one man's actions. Witnesses say 29-year-old Kenneth Atkins was exposing himself to patrons at the Arby's there. He's charged with indecent exposure and disorderly conduct. Jury selection begins tomorrow morning in Karen Cypher's trial. She's the Louisville mother accused of trying to get millions out of Louisville basketball coach Rick Pitino. Cypher faces charges of retaliating against a witness and lying to the FBI. Cypher is accused of trying to get Coach Pitino to give her $10 million, along with a house and college tuition for her kids. Jury selection could last 2 days. Opening statements are expected to begin July 26th. Cypher has pleaded not guilty. A large turnout is expected for the visitation of former Kentucky Wildcat Melvin Turpin. The Fayette County coroner says Turpin died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound Thursday at his North Lexington home. Turpin was a Bryan Station alum. He played for Coach Joby Hall and was a Wildcat from 1980 to 1984. Turpin was drafted to the NBA and played for Washington and Cleveland. A public visitation for Turpin will be tomorrow from 3 until 7 at Kerr Brothers Funeral Home on Harrodsburg Road in Lexington. His funeral will not be open to the public. It seems two women had more to do than their jobs of watching a daycare full of kids. Now they're charged with child neglect. That's straight ahead. And a Washington State team dubbed the Barefoot Bandit is cooling his heels behind bars in the Bahamas. His arrest coming up on LEX 18 News at 6.